got laid off after a year in that role. And I was actually very grateful for that because that was the first time that I decided I wanted to step off the traditional path and just see what life looked like when there was nobody telling me what to do anymore. Ended up just not leaning into job searching and just seeing what was out there, just leaning into my interests, curiosities, etc. A lot of family pushback on that one, but generally speaking, that's what I wanted to do.
Today on the podcast, we have Adele Bloch. Adele is obsessed with bringing together strangers for deep conversations, which we love.
I attended an event that Adele organized called Dinner with Strangers. Link in the show notes. She brought together 45 strangers for hours of no-work conversation over an amazing 5-course meal. It was phenomenal.
Let's get into it. Did you have a specific thoughts for this conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I message you specifically because the two of us organize events occasionally for people, and you probably more than almost anyone I know has spent a lot of time thinking about how to cultivate connection between people, especially people that don't know each other.
Yeah.
So I just want to hear about what brought you to that problem in the first place, and then learn a little bit more from you about what makes them work. Mm-hmm. So what was your path into doing this kind of event organizing? Why did you decide this is important to you?
Yeah. Okay. We start from 2 years ago.
Okay.
A year and a half ago. Which is when, no, we're going to go farther back.
All right.
Our story
to
really
the very
begins.
beginning.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the Bay Area, and I had felt like a lot of my life I had always followed the traditional path, which was kind of going to school, trying to get good grades, trying to get into a good college, get a good internship, get a good job, and kind of just follow that path. Mm-hmm. So I had done that up to a certain point, even after graduation as well, and had a moment where I was like, I don't like this. I'm not really enjoying myself. Where is this headed? So kept going down that path, got a different job, and eventually I got laid off after a year in that role. And I was actually very grateful for that because that was the first time that I decided I wanted to step off the traditional path and just see what life looked like when there was nobody telling me what to do anymore. And so I ended up just not leaning into job searching and just seeing what was out there, just leaning into my interests, curiosities, etc. A lot of family pushback on that one, but generally speaking, that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so during that time, this was last May to December, I started the walks in SF, and the walks actually started in Austin. I went on a walk in Austin and said, let me bring this to San Francisco. So that's when I started the walks.
Gotcha. So you were franchising it.
Yes, essentially.
For context, what are the walks?
Yes, the walks are the boardwalks, and a girl named Elle, she started them in Austin, and I had a trip to Austin planned and had already seen all the walks on Twitter and knew I wanted to actually extend my trip to make sure that I made it. It's every Saturday at 8 a.m.
Whoa.
And the focus is to have meaningful conversations with whoever shows up that day. And everybody brings a topic of the day. And you all go around in one big circle at the beginning and you say your topic. And what's really beautiful and smart about that is that instead of jumping into conversation with a stranger where you usually ask, what do you do for work or where are you from? All those normal questions. Now you have an interesting topic that they want to dive into. And so you immediately have a connection point that leads to vulnerability and meaningful talks. And so I went on that walk in Austin and had so much fun. Her walks in Austin get at this point over 100 people.
Wow.
100 people, something like that every single week, which is incredible. So I went, I believe, on walk number 50 in Austin.
Nice.
And I met Elle. We really connected well after the event, talked for almost an hour and a half afterwards. And I said, let me please bring this to San Francisco. And a few weeks later, we were able to make it happen. And I launched walk number 1 in SF. And today we hit walk number 58. So we have been doing this for over a year now.
Yeah.
The Austin walks are at 112 or something. So started the walks during that sabbatical period. So that was one thing.
Okay, so two immediate questions.
Yeah.
First of all, what was your topic for the one you went to in Austin?
Oh, man.
Ooh.
I don't think I can remember that.
Do you remember any
I don't
specific topics that
know.
stood out to you in the Austin one?
Yeah. I ended up, so another part of the walk culture is floating, like floating in and out of conversation very naturally. And that's accepted. You can even try to talk to 5 people on the walk. So it's very normal to try to like talk to one person and then say, I'm going to go float somewhere else. And so I kind of spent the beginning time just floating around and trying to find like where my place was in that walk, and ended up connecting really well with one guy. And we connected well because we were both working on like health, wellness related startups, and just, connected well on like a vibe basis too. Yeah. And so we walked like most of the walk together, and that was really memorable. And then also just sticking after and talking to Elle was awesome and impactful too. So, yeah.
So the other question that came to mind immediately is like, what about this event where you're like, this is amazing. I need this in my life. I want it so badly that I will personally recreate this. Like what was the pull for you?
Yeah. I think it was just, Elle is incredible at being able to create, her energy is so good. It's so empowering. It's floaty, as we call it. Like it's almost like fairy-like sometimes.
Whoa.
She leads with this awesome feminine energy, which is actually one of the reasons we connected really well, because I had been missing and craving like more feminine energy in leadership positions in San Francisco. And that was a point we connected really well on. And I think it was just like, seeing her as like a feminine leader was really inspiring. And then B, just like the culture and environment she set up to have these deep talks was so awesome. And I would go on the Austin walk every week if I was there, but obviously that wasn't feasible to fly there every week. So that's where I figured, like, let me see if I can bring something like this to SF.
Yeah.
And obviously the culture of Austin and SF are different, but so the types of people you're going to get are different. But generally speaking, I just thought, let's have something like this in SF. And it was kind of just like a starting point too. It wasn't really overthinking what this would become or how long I would do it for. It was kind of like, let's just start and see what happens. And now we're 58 walks in. So that was something that was born from that time.
The power of inspiration. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I'm selfishly curious about is like, how did she and how do you now like frame when you're prompting for people's like prompts or their questions? Like, what do you?
Yeah, there's a whole speech at the beginning that really sets the tone. But one thing we say, and I'm going to credit Elle for all of this. She came up with all of these rules. We've adapted some of them for San Francisco, but San Francisco likes to talk a lot about startups and business. So there's some try not to do that at our walks, specifically for SF.
That's great.
Had to add that in and emphasize that a lot. But generally, I think 2 parts of it. The first is the whole ground rules speech just really helps set the right tone and intention for the event. And one thing we say is your ticket to entry into this event, in a way, it's free, but your ticket to entry is a thoughtful topic, a topic you could talk about for a while. So that's one kind of intention we set up. And then the second thing is both what I do and my regulars, they all know to like bring a thoughtful topic. And so when I start off with something thoughtful and everybody else starts off with something thoughtful, it's going to make the rest of the group try to go there too. So it's a little bit like leaning on my regulars and also the intentions that we set up at the beginning.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you give them a heads up before they show up, or is that something that's part of the, like, we're starting the walk, now let's talk about topics?
I think the intentions are set up even just on the website of the boardwalks itself.
Right.
So I'd like to hope you know what you're signing up for. But, if you get there, the thing is, if you get there, you try it out and the walk wasn't for you, that's okay. You don't come back.
That's cool.
All good.
Yeah.
And we've had people who have come that aren't necessarily the right fit. All good. Don't necessarily need to come back. Part of community building is making sure you have the right people there that fit the right intention. So, yeah. But all of this started, going back to the story, I think of like how, I don't even remember the initial question, but something about the sabbatical and what I was like doing at that time.
Yeah.
I forget the initial question at this point. Okay. But at that point in the sabbatical era, I think you asked me like how I got into community building and events. And the broader point I'm making is that it wasn't a very like strategic thing. It was kind of something I feel like I flowed into and then realized I liked and was good at.
Right.
And so during this sabbatical time, I tried out like a bunch of different things. I started writing more on the internet. I did like Ship 30 for 30, a writing course online, 30 days you publish every day for 30 days.
Wow.
And I did build space, building my own ideas. And I also was working on my own business idea called Nova, which is workshops for your own personal growth. And so I did all of that during this sabbatical period. And through that, I think I just realized how much I love bringing people together and having these meaningful conversations. It's not wildly surprising because when I was in high school, I loved TEDx and I hosted a whole 500-person TEDx event 2 years in a row.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. So it's not wildly surprising why I ended up liking it, but I think sometimes you have to rediscover your interests as you grow up. So yeah, that's the origin story of how the dinners and the walks and all of that came to be.
So was going to the event in Austin, was that just a random happenstance, or was that all right, I've already rediscovered this, let me figure out more what the actual shape of this kind of community building can be?
I already had a trip to Austin and I knew I wanted to go to the walks. So I kind of extended my trip to be able to make it. Our flight was at 1 p.m. and the walks are at 8. We finished at 11 and went straight to the airport. Nice. But that's how much I wanted to go. But I would say I actually heard this yesterday from a friend, and I really like this metaphor of being a gardener versus an architect. And a gardener is somebody who likes to plant the seeds in their life and just see what sprouts and lean into the things that start sprouting, versus an architect tries to plan everything in their life.
Right.
And, try to have a perfect plan. I'm much more of a gardener where I just like to lean in, for better or for worse. I like to lean into what feels good and see what comes. So I think starting the walks again, I didn't know where they were going to go. But now 58 weeks later, it's been amazing what I've learned. And the dinners are what led from the walks. And I think I've just seen my confidence grow through all of it. So, and really brought probably over 1,000 people together at this point. And that's shot off connections. I can't even begin to think of what it's all formed. So it's awesome.
That is awesome. Wow. Yeah. Do you think you're a gardener or an architect?
Yeah. Where do you guys think you fall?
I think that I'm trying to be a recovering architect. Into gardening.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm definitely by nature an architect.
Okay.
But I think over time I've just really seen the limits of this. It's actually been a weirdly recurring thing over all of these conversations. It's just leaning more into just following curiosity and not thinking about plotting the 10-year plan and being all right, here are the strategic moves that need to happen. Being I'm going to do a thing. I'll see what happens after I do the thing. So
is there a reason you're trying to not be? Why are you a recovering architect? Did you get burned as an architect?
I think it's just been the last couple of years for me have been me attempting different strategies for architecting, and they just haven't really worked. I designed my life as a series of experiments to run, and they just all came back kind of negative. And I think I'm glad that I at least framed it that way, rather than this is the career path and then grinded it out for 10 years. But I still think that if I had just been able to just pay attention to the things that are drawing my attention and just being that's what my life is going to be about, and not worry too much about the longer path, then that would have been, I probably would have gotten to the same place anyway, but I probably would have gotten there faster. I don't know. There's definitely trade-offs. I think that some of the architecty things that I've done were, for instance, going through a bunch of intentional exposure therapy for certain fears and anxieties I want to get over.
Okay.
And I think that that would have been less likely to happen from a gardening approach. But I think that there's I think it can be effective for identifying problems and then slowly rooting them out. But it's a really bad strategy for figuring out how to find something that gives you energy and pursue it on a longer time scale.
Sure. Sure. What were some of your experiments?
So here,
exposure therapy experiment. I'm curious.
So the experiments and the exposure therapy things were kind of different.
Oh, okay.
The experiments were kind of framed this might be a career path. Let me try it out. So some of the things I've tried to do over the last couple of years, I tried running around being a climate tech angel investor. I tried being a writer for a while and writing. These are all kind of different angles on climate, and that's part of the architect perspective on this was climate is definitely the thing I'm focused on. And then it was just all different subplans of that. So the investor side of it, I ended up writing like one check that then kind of led me to fly out to Jakarta and like go on this adventure where I interviewed a founder and then spent what I thought was going to be 3 months writing this piece and releasing it through publication, and it ended up being a year, a very long, drawn-out process that was a good learning experience. It taught me that, like, okay, now I have a lot of respect for professional writers, and I don't want to be one. So a lot of it has just been like...
That does sound like gardener energy.
So, okay, the thing is, I think that I was trying to, like, use this kind of gardener energy to hop through the architected path.
Sure,
where, like, ahead of time, I'm like, all right, like, I'm doing something in climate. It's going to be like either angel investment or being a software engineer. And like, I was like only accepting garden-y things that were in one of those boxes. And now I'm trying to much more be like, all right, what are the seeds that we got? And just being like, this one, great, plant it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Whereas before it'd be like, I'm only allowed to look at this kind of seed over here. Right. And these ones are bad. And I'm not allowed to look at them at all. So I think that's the way in which it's a little bit different.
I don't think that's inherently a bad thing, by the way. I think it's important to have a balance, because it's not right or wrong to be a gardener or an architect. Sure. It's honestly about like living a little bit in the middle. And the advice I got is that I'm a little bit like too much like a gardener, and I need to spend just a little bit more time trying to architect. And I'll be specific about what that means.
Sure.
For my dinners, I talked with a friend from BuildSpace, and I can also give context on what these dinners are. I host something called Dining with Strangers. I started it 2 months ago. It's basically a 50-person dinner where we all come together for a 5-course meal. Wow. And we have meaningful conversations with strangers over the span of like 5 hours. And Jamie went to my first dinner.
It was great.
The inaugural dinner.
Nice.
But yeah, as I thought about, so I started that in like June of this year. I didn't even know if I would do the idea. I just posted it online, but that post went viral, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. I got like 300 applications just on that post. So I said, okay, let's make the dinner happen, you know? But when I think about what was next for the dinner, I've now done 2, and now we're in September. And I was thinking about like what I want for the end of the year. I could do 3 more dinners, try to hit 5, but I was kind of asking my friend, like, where is this going? Like, what am I trying to do? Where am I trying to head to? And then he asked me, he's like, Adele, what do you want?
Right.
Like, what do you want long term? And that's kind of like, I'm not the best at answering that question because I'm a little bit more of a gardener, not an architect. But he's like, Adele, spend time thinking about what you want long term. Like, think big, dream big. And then you can still be a gardener, but like, at least you can plan accordingly what steps will help you like level up to get there, rather than just shooting blind in terms of like what growth you want for the dinner. So that advice really resonated with me, and it is my assignment for this weekend to like think about and dream big about what the dinners can be, or like if my ideal lifestyle is to be like a small business owner, like how do I get there? Like you have to be practical. So that's where it's not a bad thing to just like, it's more about find a balance. If you're only a gardener, try to become architect mode a little bit more, or vice versa. So
I think there is balance. I think they each like serve a different purpose. So the thing I found is that taking the architect mindset is really bad for figuring out what you want, but it's very good for helping you accomplish a thing.
Yeah.
The problem is that like if you try to apply only the architect mindset, you have an elaborate plan to accomplish something you don't care about.
Right.
And then the converse, if you're only a gardener, it's like you're really enjoying something, but you have no idea how to guide it to where you want it to go.
Like for what?
Exactly.
And especially for me, like it would be something I'd love to make sustainable from an income standpoint.
Right.
You can't be not strategic about that. You can't just hope and pray that one day money comes. I mean, you could, but some people do. But realistically, to get there faster, you need to have a little bit of strategy.
Yeah. So actually, on that note, I'm curious. Like, it seems like the walks were fulfilling to you, and that you kept running them, and there's like some kind of connective element there that was really strong. So like, what was the jump from there to Dinner with Strangers? Like, why not just be like, these walks are great. I'm just gonna keep doing this, and that's it. Yeah.
So that ties in the other thing. I view walks as like their own entity. It's a fun thing I do on Saturdays. It's a good time. I like it. It's self-sustaining. Like, that's all good. So that's over here. The other thing I was doing during this time is called originally was called the Confidence Studio. Then I renamed it to Nova. And these were workshops for personal growth with others. And I had that idea when I was going through a tough transition period in my life, specifically after college. And I started leaning on to all of these amazing self-help resources, books, podcasts, etc., therapy. And I was like, there's so many awesome frameworks in these books and podcasts, but there's nowhere to practice them with other people.
Ooh.
Yeah. So why don't we have kind of like how I can go to the gym and practice my physical fitness with others? Why don't I have a place to work on my mental fitness with others?
Love that.
Yeah. Confidence exercises, gratitude journaling, whatever it is. But like, why can't talking to yourself in the mirror? That's another one. Like, why can't I do that with other people? So that was the genesis of the idea. This is like my first official business idea. And I started working on it. It started off with just friends and then friends of friends and strangers. Eventually, the reason why I joined the Commons is I wanted to start hosting the Confidence Studio there. I hosted over 10 sessions there and kept growing. I took it to B2B. I did a B2B partnership, all good things. But I had hosted over 60 sessions and I had over like 100 plus people that I was able to impact. And it was all really wonderful. But I was starting to feel by the end of it that I wasn't, after working on it for 2 years, I didn't have as much enthusiasm from people, users, customers as I would have liked after 2 years of working on it. It kind of felt like I was like pulling teeth a little bit. And so I had this dinner idea of kind of like, why don't I take a version of the walks, kind of the intention of the walks, but try it on a dinner form and just like see what comes of it. And so that was the same time as Build Space. I posted online about it, and that's what went viral.
Love it.
And as I said, I really didn't even have plans to make the dinner happen, but the tweet went viral. And I'm kind of like, okay, sure. And as we learned at Build Space, never even start working on something until you sell it and people pay money for it. So I actually like still hadn't done any work and started selling tickets at a high price point. Yeah, high price point. It was a $200 ticket. And I said, I'm going to try to fill 40 seats. And I did it. I filled 45 for the first dinner. And again, what's like crazy is all these people like took a leap of faith paying me. I had no restaurant selected. I had done no work. Like it was actually crazy.
Right.
Obviously I was going to follow through. But the thing is, even if what I kind of told myself is even if this doesn't work out, worst case, I refund them.
Yeah.
So everything was very step by step. I gave myself a month to make it happen. The first week was selling the tickets. The second week was finding restaurants. Third week was designing the experience. And fourth week was getting all the supplies together. And I pulled it off for dinner number 1. So there was some initial question that we've lost somewhere in this answer. Let's see.
Oh, I was asking like about the motivation transformation from the walks into dinner.
Yes. So actually, my overall point there was that it's not so much about from the walks to the dinners, since I'm still doing both too.
Right.
It was actually more from Nova to the dinners. Right. Nova was my business idea. It was the way I was trying to get money and make money as a business owner. And as I said, I wasn't seeing as much energy as I would have liked for it. So I posted about a new idea. And what's been crazy is like feeling the energy for this idea. I've had over like 600 applications at this point and have run 2 dinners so far. I've been able to make a profit off of it. And the amazing part is I feel the energy from everybody.
Yeah.
Versus for Nova, it's not that people didn't like it, but it didn't have that same like, give me type of energy. Yeah. So that's where I've transitioned from the dinners from Nova to the dinners.
Gotcha.
The walks are still happening.
Yeah. It sounds like you got from a place of people being like, yeah, this is cool, to like, I want this right now.
Right.
Like, take my money.
Yeah.
Take it.
Which also like brings up a question of, are people more willing to spend? This is like an unfortunate takeaway that I might have now is I feel like with Nova or the Confidence Studio, it was coaching and it was like a little bit of work. It was a little bit of effort, like kind of like what coaching is. You have to put in the work to like change your life, to change yourself. And I feel like people are much more hesitant to give money to that is kind of my learning. Like, it's kind of like, oh, but are you sure it's going to be valuable for me? It sounds like work. Versus with entertainment, I do feel like, just based off of my one anecdotal story here, people are a lot more willing to be like, I'll come. Sounds fun. Good night. Let's do it. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So that's just an interesting takeaway.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool in a way. It's like weirdly like lower commitment but like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but it's more interesting, I think. And also probably, I don't want to say, I mean, you can correct me, but do you think it's like also less effort than like what all the programming and the structure you're putting into Nova before?
I
Or
think
is
it's
it
different.
different.
I think it's different. I think it's still effort to plan the dinners.
Yeah.
I mean, the first dinner, I quite literally spent over 100 hours planning. It's a very curated experience, and there's a lot of things happening in the background that make it what it is. I do matching of the tables. I curate who's there. I try to pick intentionally, like who I let into the space. I want people who are like curious and positive, open-minded, excited to learn about others. So there's like the curation, the matching, and then just even the thoughtfulness behind every element of the event. There's a book called The Art of Gathering, which is like the Bible for people who do community building. It's a very good book.
Yeah, we need to read this book.
Yeah, it's a really good
Heard
book.
of the Bible? What?
Yeah.
Not the Bible, but that was a dramatic statement. But as a community builder, I like live and breathe the Art of Gathering.
Okay.
And the beauty about the Art of Gathering is it's not, it doesn't tell you like tips and tricks on how to run an event. It's like, it tells you the fundamental principles about what is going to make your event work. And the whole theme of her book is like, start with the why. Start with the why behind why you're meeting.
Yeah.
And everything else will fall into place, and be very intentional with your why. And that will inform how many people should be there, where your space should be, what the format is, what you're eating, like all of that impacts, and it comes back into the why. So for the dinners, the why is, something along the lines of have meaningful conversations with strangers that you might not have in other spaces, get comfortable going deeper than you normally would. And so all the little things inform and fall back into that why. So even something down to like you're sharing, we do shared plates. That's intentional because you're sharing stories. You're also sharing your food. Like hey, can you pass the plate over? And now it's this community energy versus if everybody's individual and has their own plates and dinner.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
So even like the little things. Yeah. So I really tried to think about when I planned the dinners, a lot of those hours went into like planning very intentionally every step of the experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm curious because we spend time planning similar type intentioned events as well. And I guess we've also been in spaces where, similarly curated with similar intentions around vulnerability and connection. I'm very curious, like, have you ever had like moments where like people have like, I don't want to say like a negative experience, but like something that looks like conflict, and like how like, I don't know if you ever
in the space.
Yeah, or like as you dig deep, it's possible that like people have strong feelings that are at log ends.
Yeah, conflict versus negative experience. I view those two different things because negative experience could be an issue with like the space itself or the experience. Conflict would mean like with somebody else. So do you mean the latter?
Yes.
Okay. Not explicitly. No, I've only done, well, okay, let's think. Let's see. With the walks, there's the walks, which we've done 58 now. So let me think about if I've seen any there. And then there's the dinners, which I've only done 2. I'll say the first thing that comes to mind is I heard that at the last dinner, one of the small groups ended up talking about vaccines, and they had different beliefs around that. So I heard at the table. But actually, from the person that I heard from, apparently it was a very fruitful and good discussion where, they were actually really able to like understand each other's perspectives and viewpoints. And it was a very like safe conversation for everyone to express their opinions, which I love that happened.
Yeah.
I love
It's a great outcome.
Yeah. I think that in San Francisco, it's actually like a very homogeneous place in terms of people's opinions a lot of the time, or at least that's what it seems on the surface. And I would love if my events happen to be a place where people can like learn from each other more intimately about controversial topics in a judgment-free way. Because I don't think there's enough of that in SF.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I guess I'm curious from a programming, like curation and design perspective. Is that something that y'all like considered? Like what if something?
Yeah. I think it's all about how you set it up at the beginning. All those intentions really matter. The little things you say at the beginning. It's fascinating because at the walks, Politics never really comes up, even as an intro topic. Nobody's brings that up ever, or anything political. The only like sometimes somewhat political topic that's come up is like about homelessness. It's not very political, but it could be controversial. I don't know.
It's a political issue.
That's only come up one time in one walk, and there's been no other controversial topics that have come up.
Interesting.
It's fascinating why that is.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. I think, again, the walk intentions, we use words like free flowing, we're relaxed, we're going with the flow.
Yeah.
That brings about a certain type of vibe. And that's intentional. And the second thing is, I think when other people are going around the circle and saying their topics and nobody's saying a controversial topic, you might rethink your topic on the spot. So I think, again, same things as before of like, how are we setting the culture? I think it's the intentions of the speech and what other people are saying too. So yeah, it hasn't really come up on the walks, and at the dinners, when it did come up, it seems like it was positive. So I think it's a lot about the intentions that are set, and like we're acknowledging it's not a space to be combative. And if you want to be combative, this is not the space for you.
That's cool.
Yeah. Have you guys run into conflict at your events?
I think that what you're doing sounds way scarier than what we do.
Okay.
Because we're predominantly curating an event where we know all of the people. And like we organize like a retreat for like 40 of our shared friends up into Airbnbs.
I remember you told me about that.
Yeah.
That's with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. But every single person there is like a strong direct connection for at least one of us. So the only kinds of things we have to be like somewhat wary of is conflicts between those people that we know there's pre-existing like tension with. But that, because I know all these people, I have such a strong baseline trust that they're all like reasonable people that are not going to be like shit disturbers.
Right.
Whereas I think that in hosting like an open event, especially like the walks, where it sounds like there is no curation of the guests for the walks, is that right?
Yeah. The only filter, all L again, but is the 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is a filter.
I love that.
Only a certain types of
That's actually good.
That's really interesting. I would have thought it was a filter. That makes sense.
Yeah. So 8 a.m. only a certain type of person is going to show up then. And if you want to be there at 8 a.m., you put in effort to be there. You woke up early.
You slept early.
You slept early. Exactly. Yeah. If it were at 10 a.m., you'd get a very different
crowd
type of person. You get the person who said,
fascinating.
I guess I have nothing else to do today. Sure, I guess I'll show up.
Right.
So no actual filter, but anybody can come. But there's a subtle filter going on.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And for the dinners, the filter is the price.
Right.
And there's an application process.
Right.
And there's an actual filter.
Yes, fair enough.
There's a price, and also me manually filtering everyone based on their very specific question answers.
I think though, yes, fair enough. I do think even so, I think price is an interesting filter. I understand there's people that are budget constrained. That is a very fair thing. But I think price also shows like willingness to pay, shows willingness to show up.
Yeah.
And enthusiasm to show up. And what's so cool is like, because everybody paid that high price point, people filled out all my surveys. I never had to bug them. Like the surveys got filled out to 100% completion rate within like a day.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's pretty incredible.
And
put up our prices.
There we go. People like like answered so many of my emails. They would send me like, I'm so excited notes. Like I just got this enthusiasm because when you pay, you're putting in your buy-in that you're like excited for this night.
Yeah.
So while again, I recognize there's budget constrained people and I would love in the future to be able to accommodate that. It is in a way a filter as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you are reading through these applications, so I think it's right to say that you have way more applicants than you have seats, right?
Yeah.
So when you're reading through these applications, what are the things where you're like, okay, like I want these people in the group. And then beyond that, I'm also curious, as you're assembling the subgroups, like who are you like, ooh, this person and this person, like how do you, that seems like a really complex puzzle, especially for strangers.
Yeah, it is. It's a complex puzzle. So for the applications, there's just 2 questions that are asked. The first question is, why do you want to come to the dinners? And the second question is, what could you talk about endlessly? So it's not that much to go off of, but it's actually enough to get us pulse. So why do you want to come to the dinners? If you say something like, not very much, if you're saying like, I just want to make friends or sounds fun, probably not my type of person.
Right.
But if you're saying something like, I love meaningful conversations, I'm that person that stays up all night talking to my friends, or I just think strangers are a place for connection and serendipity, like you're going to probably be my type of person that's excited to be there and also has that open-minded, curious, positive energy that I'm looking for. And then what could you talk about endlessly? It's more just I'm looking for like a diversity of interest and overall curiosity. If you just write like sports, I don't know, like no judgment, maybe so, okay. But if you just write sports though, it's probably not the type of person who's going to like lean into these introspective conversations and curious conversations. But if you're writing that you love to read all these books, or you love writing, or I don't even really care what your interests are, but just things that show you're curious about topics, about the world, about people, whatever it is, you're probably going to be that cool person. So that's who I extended invitations to. And then as for the actual matching, by the way, it's interesting because I don't actually explicitly say at the dinners that you get matched to your table.
Right.
I don't say that on purpose because I don't want to add pressure. Like, I don't want to make it seem like you're supposed to get along.
Right. There's a reason you're here.
Yeah. It was more just like, I think these people have a higher likelihood of vibing. How do I do it? There's 45 strangers.
Right.
Thankfully, I knew some of you, so that kind of helped. If I actually know who you are, I can place you at a table and know what I'm working with a little bit.
Yep.
But generally, once you are in and you pay, then you fill out a much more complicated survey with a lot more questions. Questions like, how would your friends describe you in 3 words? When you lose track of time in a conversation, what made you lose track of time? Like, what made that conversation so good that you lost track of time? And I basically just sit with each person's survey responses for an unnecessary amount of time.
You just load it into your brain and you're like, connections.
Exactly. It's like a multi-day process where I just sit with your responses, try to get a sense of who you are, and then try to match you.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting because on the first dinner, somebody offered, they had an AI matching thing. And they were like, if you pay me $200, I'll match all your people at your tables. And I considered it. It would have been helpful and more time efficient, but especially because it was my early stage dinners, I wanted to like be aware of what I was doing with everything. So I wanted to do it myself. So yeah, it was kind of just an intuitive feel of people, and especially having met like so many people through my life, through the walks, whatever, being a people person, I'd like to think and hope that I have a good sense of intuition around that. And is every table going to be perfect? No. What does that even mean? You're working with people, you're working with strangers, like you can't predict what's going to happen. But yeah, can I try my best? Yes, I can. And it's cool too, because after the first dinner, I asked people, kind of tried to read the room and see how tables connected. And I went back to the surveys and tried to like update my internal algorithm of like, okay, these people didn't vibe. What did I miss? Like, how could I try to make that better next time?
Right.
But overall, I think people told me like, your matching algorithm in your head was pretty good. So I want to try to keep leaning into that. It's not sustainable, but.
It kind of makes sense that a dinner that is centered around connection, it feels right that like the first step to that is you connecting with everyone that's going to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
Responses. Like,
that's true.
When you were saying it, I was like, that feels right.
Yeah.
Something a little cold about letting an algorithm do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And offloading like what could be what I learned actually is almost like one of the most important parts of the dinner. Yeah. One thing I learned too, I added this for the second dinner. It needs to be shifted a little to smooth out the kinks, but people did want the chance to meet more than just their own table. And so at the second dinner, I added like chairs, an extra chair at every table.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that you could go float in between different courses. Need to smooth out some of the kinks for next time. But generally speaking, what I like about that is it empowered people to take control of their own night, where if you want to go meet more people, great. You have the opportunity now. There's an extra chair for you at a table. Like, you don't just have to meet these people at your table. You can go elsewhere. So that's something that's like a big question for these dinners moving forward is depth with your table versus breadth of meeting other people.
Yeah.
And how to balance what the ideal is.
Yeah. Yeah, for the event that we run, we have like a parallel thing where we have these 40 people, and one of my friends really early on, who didn't know anyone else at the event, she almost like bailed out of the event. She called me being like, hey, I'm just like, I'm pretty freaked out about this idea of like just jumping into a room of like 40 strangers. And then I thought about it, I'm like, okay, like what if instead we like are really intentional about facilitating kind of smaller groups and we make it explicit, like there's too many people. You can't get to know everyone, but we will try to like create some options here.
Yeah.
So we ended up in the end doing these 3 different size groups where there was, so the event is called a small gathering.
Yeah.
So there was the small gathering, which is everyone. Then there was a smaller gathering. And then there was a tiny gathering.
Okay.
So every person was part of a group of, it was 4, 8, and then 40. Is that right?
Tiny was like 3 to 5.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
4, 8, and 40.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We tried to like facilitate different things in these different setups.
Cool.
So the biggest group, we did very few things, whereas everyone. This next size group down, we did things that were more kind of like improv game-ish. So like some of them were like literally improv games. Some of it was just really rapid conversational exchanges. And then it was the tiny groups where we went through this thing that I took from an old job called 3 Things, where we got each person to think ahead of time about 3 things that made them who they are. And then we gave each person a long time, like 5-10 minutes per person to just share that with just a small group so that everyone would be able to remember it and tie to that person. And we did not want this to be like a thing where you were listening to 40 people's 3 things, so you would never remember any of it.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So that was like one way.
That's awesome. It's so cool because as much as I said I love Art of Gathering and starting with the why, it is helpful to just hear like cool game-like things that people do, specific prompts that work really well. Like that makes me want to do a 3 Things at the table, right? Or even like, one of the things the Art of Gathering says is having people bring or think about something in advance increases interest at the event. That's kind of what the walks do. You bring a topic.
Right.
So I kind of love that. Like you have people think about 3 things and that made them more excited to show up day up.
Yeah. The topics thing is really, I also really kind of like nerding out on these like interesting mechanical things, although I definitely agree that the overarching why is more important. Another one that I've seen other events that I really like is like a 5-minute life story where you just have to share, like you basically say like in 5 minutes, like tell me your life story.
5 minutes TED Talk.
Yeah. And like it's the thing that is interesting to me in listening to people's life stories when they frame them that way. It's not just the content. It's actually looking back at what elements they've chosen to highlight. So more so than just like, oh, it's interesting the person has this job. There's another layer of it's interesting that they focused on a job. But it gives everyone the ability to kind of like self-define themselves in the domain that they want to. So we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do for this year. So
what started the event?
That's hilarious. I think like, I think the event started after the podcast started, in which we had identified that like we both really enjoy connecting with people. And it's like a very fundamental, part of what makes us fulfilled and happy. At some point we were like, that idea, we feel like we like working together. We'd like to work on more things. And it feels like we have a little bit of time. What else could we do? And then I think Jamie and I both had this kind of different offshoots of kind of similar to what you were doing, actually. We were like, we like food. Let's do dinners. It's like, by definition, an intimate kind of setup. We'll do like dinner with friends. Yeah. And we'll do it with like 6 to 10 people. Yeah. I said like 6 to 10 people. And then Kevin's like, how about 40?
That's the number I landed on too. So I'm like 40 sounds nice.
It just you want basically more, but like not too many, because then it's too much to contain.
And when was this?
First one was last November.
Yeah, we had the idea maybe in like May, June.
First one was last November. How many have you done since?
Just the one.
Oh, just one. Because I remember we had like kind of just met, and then you said, "I'm hosting this thing."
Yeah.
So I remember that.
That's happening in like a month.
Cool.
2 months.
The next one.
Yeah. I don't know when this is going to get released, but yeah.
Definitely after.
Okay, yeah.
I'm 100% sure.
Well, the second one will have happened.
Yeah.
By the time you're hearing this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
40 people.
Yeah.
So how was the first one?
It was great.
Yeah.
I went in.
I have one more follow-up question. Sorry. I know I just asked that question. Did you invited friends?
Yeah.
How many knew other people that was going to be there? Were there any like significant others that were there too? Like pairs?
There were. So our rule out of the gate was no plus ones.
Cool. I love that. That's
so
important. Yeah.
We did this for a host of reasons.
Yeah.
One of it was that even though 40 people sounds like a lot, when you have to start like making a literal list, you're like, oh, like 20 each is not, or 19 each is not that many people.
Sure.
The other reason is we wanted to be able to personally vouch for every single person there, so that when we were bringing in friends that didn't know many people, possibly knew 0 other people other than one of us, we wanted people to say like, I can personally vouch for every single person here.
Yeah.
Which is harder to do once you allow people to invite plus ones.
That makes sense.
The other reason is we really wanted to like be able to curate the experience in a way of like getting specific people to meet each other.
Yep.
And that's also really difficult to do if you don't know.
Yeah. Well, and people's vibe shifts when there's a plus one. This came up on the walk today, actually. When your partner's there, when your friend's there, you're kind of different. You're trying to like entertain them. You're trying to keep the vision that they have of you upheld. It's different. So I love that that was a part of your rule. And now I'll go back to my original question, which was, how was it? How was the event?
It was great. So yeah, like I went in feeling very anxious because it was like the most natural organizational complex thing that I'd ever been part of.
Yeah. Oh my God. Hosting's a lot.
Yeah. Kevin was way more chill going in.
Okay.
Just had past experience doing much more complicated things.
Okay.
I've done larger scale.
So sure.
40 is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Plus it's your friends.
Right. Yeah. And mostly I was nervous about like, oh man, like what if we get there and like we can't figure out how to cook for this group because we're all cooking together as well, which for that many people was an ordeal. And there's just a lot of like little organizational pieces everywhere. Like everyone had to get there. We had to be parking for everyone.
Yeah.
We had to make sure, and there was like, I was worried about not having signal up there and just like all these sorts of things. I was like catastrophizing.
Yep.
But
been there, done that.
as soon as I stepped foot on venue and I saw my friends there, I'd be like, I just realized if something bad happens, this is all of the people I want to be here. Like literally, like every person I would want to call for support is currently here, basically. So, and like a couple of things went wrong, but they just like fixed themselves by virtue of having good people there. So within 5 minutes, my anxiety went from like 90 to like 5.
I get that.
And by the time I was at the end, I was at 0, which was like an almost alien state for me.
Yeah.
And people seem to really, really like it. Like I think that many people just got to a point by the end where they just felt kind of like an effortless sense of connection with people.
What was your intention or why for the event?
Yeah. Great question. We actually did start with the why.
Yeah, we did.
And like you were saying, we did refer to it multiple times. And it was a really good guiding star for whenever we had these.
But you hadn't read the book?
Questions. No.
Look at that.
It's just,
natural intuition on what to do. I love it.
Yeah. I'm a product manager, and that's kind of what they preach.
Yep,
so.
definitely. No, I get that. I am too, so I get that.
There you go. It's always like that, right? We start with a doc, and at the very top is why are we doing this?
Yep.
I think like we had like maybe like 3 or 4 key tenets. We were like, connection obviously was a big part of it, but also another big part of it was the what you were alluding to too, like this idea of disconnecting. Because we wanted to have kind of retreat-like vibes. It was like, it's about connecting authentically in a space that is like, it's different than your normal.
Yep.
And so like, no significant others was a part of that. The decision to like strongly encourage people to like get off their devices for the weekend. The fact that we chose somewhere outside of the city that was close to nature, that people would have access to, all that kind of went into that.
Yeah.
And then to your other point, we also, we had success criteria.
Cool. Also, where was this?
We do it just outside of Yosemite.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So, I think actually, let me finish answering the full question. First question fully. I think it was a combination of those things of selfishly, I wanted that. And then also an excuse to get all of our close friends together for a weekend and just like, connect, vibe, have interesting, good conversations, like leave refreshed, energized with new ideas.
Did people fly in?
They did.
Oh, okay.
We have friends, we're Canadians. We have a lot of friends in Canada.
I see.
And then, the SF New York migration means there's also like a New York cluster of friends.
Oh, yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So
where all my friends are.
Yeah. I'd say at least like 25% of people. We had people flying from Chicago as well.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and then what was your success criteria?
I have this more articulately in like a Notion somewhere, but it's we had like maybe 2 or 3, and one of them was definitely like, I feel like I want to do this again. I want to hang out like with all of these other people again. Like I feel like I made like a close friend.
Yeah.
And then did I say organically? Yeah. One of the things that ideally happen is if our friends hang out now independently of us.
Yep.
And they kind of have that natural inclination to do so.
Cool. Did you have like a certain number you were trying to hit? Like you hang out with 3 people outside of here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think like it was just like behaviors that would indicate to us that they connected really deeply, like beyond just the surface level with people that they didn't know before, and that they felt better for it. And then that was that warm, fuzzy. I don't know if you have any other ones that you remember.
One thing that we haven't mentioned is that we made this event into like a kind of an unusual structure. Mm-hmm. So I've been to a few events now that call themselves unconferences. Mm-hmm. So the idea of the structure is that you have it set up so that the organizer's predominant job is to organize spaces and times for other people to lead things. And you don't like before the event assign people to do specific things or even necessarily solicit specific ideas. Instead, what you do is beginning of the event, you put up a big whiteboard and you're like, sign up to do things. Mm-hmm. And we like are basically giving people permission to, it's like a social permission slip to do something that would normally be really weird. Because it'd be difficult otherwise if you're just like on a group trip to just like get up on a chair and be like, hey everyone, we're going to do a choir now.
Right.
But if you have this structure, it enables people to do things that would structurally be really awkward otherwise. So one of the things I was hoping was going to happen is people would really enjoy that. And they would start like taking that element and putting it into other events. Because like, I really think that I'm always trying to get away from is like the lowest common denominator thing, where like, if you try to design things by consensus, then you end up with just kind of muddied, uninteresting ideas. Or if one person's like, we should do this, then usually everyone's like, yeah, that's good, let's do that. And that ended up happening. I've been to, I think after the event, I went to 3 or 4 different events organized by people that came, where they're like, this structure is dope, I'm going to do the same thing. And they just integrated it into whatever they were doing. And it was awesome. Yeah,
the similar energy shows up in the Art of Gathering. The Bible is something, one of the chapters and whole points is called Don't Be a Chill Host. Because I think a lot of the times we think like, oh, I'm chill. Like anybody can do whatever they want. No biggie. All good. I'm a chill host.
Yeah.
And her whole argument is actually like, don't be a chill host. People want guidance. People want you when they walk through the door to say hi and introduce them to somebody. They don't want to just be standing there awkwardly. People don't want to be at a party for 5 hours that has no guidance. It's awkward. You don't know what you're doing. You go hide in the bathroom. Like, you know, versus what you just said is like the exact definition of don't be a chill host, where it's kind of like you had a task, you told them what to do, they got to run with it, you give them permission, and people like actually love that because they're looking for spaces to almost be told what to do, so that it's permission to just relax into that rather than be stressed about all the other details. So even, right, like something we had talked about this earlier was like, at my dinners, there's name cards at every table, and that's where you sit. And I could be a chill host and say, sit wherever you want, right? That makes me look cool. But actually, because there's a specific place for you to sit, you don't have to worry about like, oh my God, where am I sitting? Who am I sitting with?
Right.
Is anybody going to sit with me? Is this embarrassing? It just removes all of that, and you can relax into it. So I love that. It's like, don't be a chill host.
Yeah. And I think that some friends, when I tell them about this kind of thing, I think they have this kind of reaction like, oh, like, you're just like telling people exactly what to do. Like people, you know, just trust people to like have a good time. And I think my natural retort to that is like, I am actually trusting them.
Right.
I'm creating like a different kind of space.
Right.
So that I'm giving them constraints.
Right. Exactly.
But once they have constraints, then they can be like deeply creative in a way that absent the constraints is really hard. Yeah. You know, if I just like push a bunch of people in the room and say, have fun. Probably a really boring, repetitive thing is going to happen. But if I like, you know, give specific constraints, like, all right, like I'm going to put on music. No one's allowed to talk. And then like, here are funny hats. And they'll do that for half an hour. And like something, now there's like weird elements that people are like, all right, I guess we'll figure this out.
That's another chapter. It's like create an alternate universe.
I gotta read this book.
I like that you like thought of all of these intuitively, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like create an alternate universe. Like those ground rules we set up, all the context you give, everything you give, even up to the beginning of the event, all helps. So you're doing that all intuitively, which is cool.
Okay, so one specific thing we'll talk about, because you're mentioning that your friend was like pushing you to be like, okay, you need to be a little bit more of an architect, like figure out what the vision for this is. I think that one of our friends is pushing us to do is like figure out what a 5-year vision for this project looks like. And I think we're struggling a little bit because
I saw the head shake.
We're struggling a little bit because we think that the nature of this event fundamentally like does not scale, and that we don't want more than 40 people. We think that it is kind of fundamental to that. And so much of the event itself is really just about this group of people interacting with each other, that even if we were to like up the prices, we don't even know what we would spend money on exactly.
Sure.
So I'm curious, like, as you've been thinking about what it would look like to architect Dinner for Strangers on a longer time scale, like what are the dimensions you're considering playing with?
Yeah. Well, one question back to you also is, this is the question my friend asked me, which was helpful and I didn't have a good answer to. Yeah. Is what I'm pausing. Well, it's my first pause. What a big moment.
That's good.
One of the questions my friend asked me is, what are you hoping to get out of this? So I think the same question back to you guys, like, you told me your why and your intentions, but like personally on a broader level, is this something you're like trying to make a big vision for? Are you trying to figure out how to tell other friend groups how to do this? Do you want to take this to strangers? Like, do you have big visions for this? Or is this just like a nice, happy side thing that you do once a year and it's an incredible, fulfilling way to spend time with your friends? Like, what do you want out of it?
I think for me, it's mostly the latter.
Okay.
Like the thing that I want out of it personally is to like weave my friend group closer, because I think there's a natural tendency of friend groups to just like slowly drift, especially as friends move into their cities, they move into other phases of life. I think there's going to be a pretty significant shift in this challenge once a lot more people have kids. Then there's going to be some kind of structural change needed. Or maybe not.
Or they bring their kids or
which makes a bunch of decisions around that kind of stuff.
Which would be freaking awesome if people start to have kids and it's like now like a family event almost. Like that does sound cool. It does sound special.
Right. So like that is like one way in which it could like kind of quote unquote scale, but like in a very different sense of that word.
Yeah.
But my intuition anyway is that I'm not super interested in turning this into like a thing that we create to run with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
Where are you at for this?
Same page. I think it's, I mean, my version of this is that I want to hang out with all my favorite people. And doing like the thing I like to do most in life, which is connect. I would like to do that for at least one weekend, one dedicated weekend of the
in
year.
A very special, like beautiful, creative way.
Yeah, and like an intentionally designed way to like facilitate all that, right? We're next to nature. I like nature. We get to like walk around. There's water. There's hikes. Like it's all just there, right? And I'm like, that seems like a great use of time. And it's very fulfilling to like actually go through the process of creation. We get to work on a project together. So I'd say it's like 90% that, and then there's like 10%, which actually reminded me of our other success criteria is we want the format to take fire. Or like we want other people to be like, whoa, that was crazy. Let me organize my own version of
I like that. Yeah.
So on this note, I think we talked about as one way of scaling this is we just make a playbook. We make the playbook and then we distribute it. And one of our friends is interested in running the playbook if we make it. So we should actually.
And that's like a good public deed, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to do that even with it's nice if you put effort and love into something. It's just nice to create a public resource, whether it's for some amount of money or not. Just so that other people can run with it if they so desire. It's like a good public deed.
Exactly. Selfishly, we would like to get invited to other people.
Exactly.
You know?
I like that. Yeah, that reminds me because even this week somebody told me that my event of the dinners inspired them to like host something with their friends like that. And I like that. I like that energy.
Yeah.
But I think what you guys are doing with that idea is so special and like feels like it's combating the loneliness crisis and just people saying that it's a natural state for friends to drift. Like I feel like that's just a thing as we get older. I feel like what you guys are doing is such a refreshing take on that. even if it's just like a heart-filling thing for you guys. Like, I feel like that is special. So yeah, it's almost like maybe your 5-year plan is to just keep going and like keep evolving with the changing nature of your friend group.
Yeah.
And like as they get as they start to form families or have partnerships, like how can you evolve that in an interesting way? And that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to tie it back to what you want. That's what my friend asked me. And for me, I would love to be like my own business owner. Like I would love to have my own business. And so for me, quite frankly, it's not necessarily just about dining with strangers. It's about, that could be my forum to get there, or it could be something else. But I do love, at least at this moment, like the idea of having my own business.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever path or stepping stone it is for me to get there, so be it. Hopefully I'm passionate about it. That's important for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way, like going from the Confidence Studio to Nova to the walks to the dinners, it's all been like stepping stones that feel like it's getting closer to the right thing.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's great. You didn't have to architect it. It's just the path is revealing itself.
Right.
Gardening at its best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My friend just like, he challenged me where he's like, if you want to have X amount of money on your own business, like you do have to be practical about how to get there. Because part of me is like, oh, but I want to be able to offer events to people who might have a lower budget. Like maybe I could do a $50 event. But I did the math on that with ChatGPT, and like to get a certain amount of money, I'd have to get like 15,000 people a year interested, which is like a lot of people across like that marketing channels you'd need for that across many different cities. The consistency, like that is insane. So actually, like just even spending 5 minutes with ChatGPT, I started to get better intuition around like, okay, higher price points, obviously lead to faster ability to get to the profit that you might want.
Right.
And so how do you just be smart about where you're trying to go? And especially from a more like tactical business money perspective. I'm very like passion driven, but it is important sometimes to be practical. So that's something I try to keep in mind.
Yeah. Are there puzzles about dinner with strangers or the potential other avenues you might explore to turn this into business that you're like kind of mulling over right now?
What do you mean by puzzles?
I mean, for instance, for us, like a puzzle could be like, okay, at some point when way more of our friends have kids, like how do you want to evolve it?
Right.
Or a puzzle for you could be like, how do I facilitate both the like small group conversations while also encouraging people to like meet more people, at least in like a light way?
Yeah. I think it's hard because like as the business owner, you're balancing your creative energy toward the event itself and the experience and improving like the product management, improving the product.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also trying to think strategy and long-term vision and growth and where am I trying to go? And so I have a tendency to like want to hyper focus on the product and like the experience and improve that. But I think it's kind of, I feel like a little bit of the builder mentality is like, just go, just make it happen and run with it. If you get a negative complaint here and there, like, so be it, which is so not how I like to operate. I like to be quality. I like to offer quality experiences, which is what I'm doing. But I think I'm just trying to balance like improving the experience versus growth and new marketing channels, improving top of funnel, all those business metrics.
Right. Would you consider flying to other cities so you have like more pools of these things to start?
Yeah, I mean, in like, I want to do the math on that. That's my task for the weekend. But like in a very cool, perfect world, like I would love for this to be running in different cities with different hosts in each city. Kind of what the walks have done with me as the franchisee. Imagine that, but for the dinners.
Yeah.
That sounds really, really cool. But also I would be down to guest star in different cities and host this. It's just hard because every city, like I have a demographic of people that I know in SF through the walks and through life. And so every time you go somewhere new, you have to make sure you like know people there. So that might be a tricky thing I'd have to navigate. But honestly, one thing I am interested in doing next year is traveling to different cities for like a month at a time. So that could be like a fun thing I play around with.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's such a natural synergy.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be a natural synergy.
It reminds me of how one of my friends is a tattoo artist. and she does like residencies in different tattoo shops as she travels around.
That's
And
cool.
it sounds like, you're gonna have like a residency of
That'd be
event
so
organization.
cool. And just to feel what different cities are like. There's this question though right now of, I do feel like part of the reason I'm getting a lot of appetite in SF is because it's branded as no work talk.
Yeah.
And people crave that here. That's all we do is talk about work.
Yeah.
And so I think it's refreshing to have a space that isn't that. And I do wonder in other cities if it'll have that same appetite. I think in New York and LA it would, but somewhere like Austin or Chicago, I don't think it's as much of an appetite. So that I'd have to just scope out and see.
Yeah. I wonder if in those cities, if instead of it being like a negative restriction,
Right.
you like choose a positive version
Right.
where like this is a space specifically talking about this thing that like
Yeah.
Austin usually doesn't talk about, for instance.
Right. That's cool. Yeah. So I'd have to do like culture research a little bit
Yeah.
to like understand what would be best, but definitely something I'd scope out. Yeah.
That is an excellent answer to the
Yeah.
question. Like that's totally a puzzle of like,
Yeah.
you figured out this draw in these cities, like what would that look like in other cities? How would you do that research?
And like also just a broader question too of like, where do I want this to go? For example, I mentioned I used to do TEDx in high school.
Yeah.
Could this go like the high ticket route for like a 3-weekend? I don't want to do a conference, but like, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Oh, a retreat somewhere where you have like meaningful conversations. I don't know. There's exactly what you guys do, but with strangers. I don't know. There's like a lot of versions and iterations of the same intention, but different outputs of it.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to explore like what makes the most sense from a business standpoint, but also a customer appetite perspective. I really try to balance the like business persona of me and versus the part of me that just like loves connecting people and being with people and having deep talks. I try to balance the two.
I'm like very impressed you're able to do this just like you in your own head.
Yeah.
For all the projects, like this has been so helpful having like a pair.
Yeah.
Because I think like I'm helpful when it comes to like getting all these like nitty gritty details and the figuring out like, okay, like literally when someone walks in the door, what do they do? And Kevin's really good at being like, it's going to be fine. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And like that dynamic works really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And other dynamics I've had for like kind of vaguely company founding things, I found it really hard to switch back and forth between the kind of deep work design stuff and like the rapid like market test and talking to people thing, because there's such different mentalities.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know how you're managing flipping back and forth.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna actually ask you guys. This is a question I had come up like a few minutes ago. Was what do you guys like about working with each other? Because I think it's not necessarily easy to find somebody that you get along with so well that you want to work with them and partner with them. I personally have like not had a co-founder in anything I've done.
Yeah.
Co-creator or whatever. So I'm curious like why you guys decided to work together. I know you know each other from college, but what drew you guys to like want to work together, or as you've continued to work together, what you found works well?
I think originally it was just an excuse to hang out more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we started it being like an experiment essentially. We're like, all right, like we're friends and we'd spend a lot of time together. We have all these common like hobbies and stuff. Why don't we try building something together?
Mm-hmm.
And like I had kind of had like a backlog of ideas. It started with the podcast actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I had in the back of my mind, I've been thinking about it for years. Like, I need to start a podcast and like, just need someone to do it with. And there was kind of like this perfect dominoes situation where like, we talked about this in a previous episode, but we took the same like emotional communication course. Jamie took it first, recommended it to me. I really liked it as well. And that was actually kind of similar to Nova, actually. They provided...
Is this at Stanford?
No,
we did that
kind of.
afterwards.
Okay. Wait, there's like a thing.
So we went...
as a name.
Yeah.
Touchy-feely is the course.
Touchy-feely, yeah.
Also called Con19.
Okay.
It's like a weekend intensive. So one of the facilitators from that ended up spinning out and creating another course. That's the course we took, called Relating Between the Lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then after that, we went back and we went to Touchy-feely.
Cool.
So we've done both now.
Cool. But in between there, we were like, we should keep, like I was saying, like similar to Nova, it was like part of Relating Between the Lines is that it had like an environment for practice. And we were like, we should keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then I was like, that plus podcast, we should just record it and make it a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's kind of those two things were the reason, like the ideas and then like wanting to build a thing together that could be fun. We started with that, like, worked well enough. We're like, all right, this seems pretty good. I like working with you. Yeah. And it's like a nice hybrid of hangout and productivity. A lot of productivity is it's always like preceded by like an hour or two of just hanging out.
I love it. Yeah.
At some point, someone will be like, oh, we should probably do some work. And then we do some work.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it worked well. And then like I was saying, it was just like, oh, like I feel like we have some spare cycles, like when we're not doing the podcast, and this other idea for a small gathering came up. And so that's kind of how we have.
Cool. And then how about the second piece, which is like what you guys have learned you work well together? Because you mentioned you handle more the detail oriented, you're like the relaxed, it's all going to be okay. But tell me more about like how you guys complement each other again.
I think there's a bit of an exaggeration. Like, I think the details are like, the details we obsess over are a little bit different.
Okay.
Like, for instance, it's like definitely Kevin like organizing all of the cameras and being like very careful about all of that mechanics.
Okay.
I'd be pushing around like pixels a lot more, like specifically for visual design stuff. And then for both for this and for the event we run, like I'm the one that is always like, we need checklists. We need checklists for everything. We're gonna like make sure all of this is like lined up, and then walk through like on an hour by hour basis for the event. Like, what does the whole thing look like?
Dang, that's awesome.
But it's not like that clear cut. Like we honestly bounce back and forth on a lot of these things. We do a lot of these things like in pretty tight collaboration. Cool. So like we'll like draft emails together, and then we'll like kind of play with the tone of it to get it to feel like the right connection between those. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked because you said, like, how do you do all of this on your own? And I think I'm with you. It's like a lot of work. And I think especially like some work, especially the detail-oriented customer focus work is going to be really, it's like creative and you have to tune into empathy and feel all of that out versus there's like more the execution energy. And it can be hard to switch between both. But I think in terms of like finding a co-founder, it's not something I've actively pursued, but I'm kind of a believer that like the type of person who wants to work with you will come by nature of you just hosting the event. They will come. That hasn't happened, but I've got an interest and enthusiasm for people, but it also needs to be like the right people fit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just interesting because I haven't had that. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know like what type of person I'd want to work with. So yeah, I think it's cool that you guys have like found a balance of somebody you want to work with.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on like why we work well together?
I agree with you a lot with most, actually, basically all the things. Like, I don't know that there's like clear cut roles where it's like, in a more traditional startup sense, you have the tech guy and the business guy. There's like a clear divide between what they do and like responsibilities, and they just yin to my yang. And I think for us, we're both basically in the weeds together for most things. Where one of us will drive, but the other one gives feedback. So I think about it as just like having it's like doubling your brain bandwidth.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like I have a second very competent, thoughtful brain to help me think about the same problem. Yeah. And the more common experience is that like one of us will think of something the other is not thinking of.
Yeah.
Or when someone overthinks, you like bring them back down.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I think two specific things that I can think of that make us work well together. Well, just like complementary strengths. Mm-hmm. One really clear one is that Kevin is much better at negotiating than I am.
Okay, cool.
That's true.
So somebody is just that like I'm pretty like innately uncomfortable like financially negotiating.
Me too. Yeah.
Whereas like Kevin is just like this is fine.
Who do you need to negotiate with? Or
like Airbnb host, for instance, is a thing that we'll negotiate on. Or
it's like whenever we have to call a vendor for anything.
Yeah.
Our version of vendors.
Cool. What are your negotiation tips and tricks?
Oh, I mean, I
need to know.
It's the same energy as like, don't be a nice host.
Yeah.
This is I feel like empaths, people who are very empathic, by definition, it means you're very good at relating to other people. Mm-hmm. And I think like good negotiation is like, it's rooted in selfishness, which I think has a very bad rep. Because, we typically talk about selfishness and its overexpression when you're like clearly prioritizing your needs over other people and just like, steamrolling them. But a lighter version of that is kind of what you need in order to basically advocate for yourself when you're like, you have a budget, you have like it's like the hard part from, I think, a business perspective is like, I could be making less, I could be making more. And you have to kind of just draw the line somewhere when you're negotiating with, I know, restaurant partners or other people. It's like, hey, this is what I need to make it work. In the back of your mind, you're like, maybe I could do a little less. That's the empathic part, right? Which essentially means
I don't need to make any money. Don't worry about it. It's
right. You're like, the restaurant can make more. I'm sure they have struggles too. It's like, how waiters don't make enough money. Like all that, can come flooding up. And when you're in negotiation mode, you kind of just have to shut all that up.
So what do you do in your, like, or what you actually say? Is it, here's our budget, like this is what I'm working with? Like what's your...
Oh, the tactics?
Yeah. Like what actually comes up in the call?
I think actually it's a lot of the same skills, actually. And like if you read the, the Never Split the Difference, like the classic negotiation books, like it's all actually very rooted in empathy. But it is a yin yang in the sense of like, you need to express that empathy in a way that's very rooted in my interests, which feels bad to say, but I actually don't think it's inherently bad, but that's kind of what you need. You want to understand, like, you're not trying to, like, I don't know, in a capitalistic way, take advantage of the other person. Right. It's just like, I want to understand where you're coming from and what your bottom line looks like. And then I'll know in my mind what my bottom line looks like and then communicate that. And let's like find a way for both our bottom lines to work. Yep. And so, it's the classic, like, it's very easy to see negotiation as like adversarial, but it's actually very collaborative.
Yeah, it should be. I took a negotiation class in college, and that's a lot of what we learned is like, you expand the pie, you expand what both of you want, and you learn, you understand each other's perspectives, and you try to find something that works for both of you. Yeah.
It's all the same biases. You go in thinking, oh, like this restaurant just cares about profit. Like that's obviously their top priority. And then you talk to them and you realize that might be true, but there may be very close competing second and third priorities, right? Yeah. And like they might be thinking, the restaurant owner might have like a larger vision. Like it might actually be about bringing new customers into the restaurant. Right. And that might be worth more than, maybe they're willing to take a loss on some things, right? Yeah. And like all that doesn't come out until you have the conversation.
Yeah. I had to work on that for my first to second dinner, and I'm proud of the growth. I needed some like family support there. Like as in my family I have older siblings, parents, and older siblings and parents, and they are all very business savvy. And so I got some advice from them on how to handle all of it. But because of that, with basically the exact same quality of experience from dinner 1 to dinner 2, it was at the same restaurant, same experience, more or less. I was able to triple profit. There you go. Which was with one negotiation call.
I love that.
And I basically, I quite literally had my dad in the car with me. I had him on, I was on speaker, and I just had my dad coaching me just in case because I was so nervous. Yeah. But I just told the guy, I'm like, actually, I emailed him in advance with the numbers and stuff, but I told him, I'm like, this is my budget that I'm working with this time. And they coached me. They were like, Adele, you are a business owner. Like, if anything, pretend that you are working on behalf of a company. This is the budget that you have. Take it or leave it. Like you have a budget, okay? Yeah. And so I told him this is my budget, and he was able to give me big discounts on alcohol, which was really helpful. Yeah. That's where most of the savings came from. He took off some things here and there. Perfect. But I realized after it's like, he gets 45 new customers that are like high net worth that are like
willing to spend
who might work at a company where they're going to think to host an event there in the future, which by the way is how I found the restaurant, because I had gone to an event there in April. So I had like heard about it then. There you go. So yeah, I definitely I think I want to keep practicing those negotiation skills, but I feel you that it's very nerve wracking.
Yeah. I think like a big part of it is also like part of the empathy is also understanding the business. I think like, for example, the alcohol thing makes so much sense to me. Because like I think a lot of restaurants, they make so much margin on drinks. It's the same model as like clubs, right?
These wines are $60 and $80. I'm like,
they're not.
Are they?
No. Are they? There's like,
and if not, if they are, can you just procure cheaper wine?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Fine.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. And then you talk to them and you realize there's like a 5x margin padded into that. And you're like, it's easy for them. Like you can hear it when they like, when you throw something at them and their immediate response, okay, like it's fine. Like you really see the bottom line. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's so interesting, like being in this space, because I'm very high empathy. Like I walk around caring about other people's emotions every second of the day, generally speaking. But it's like there's certain ways in being a business owner that you have to kind of like turn that down to be effective. Negotiation is one of them. The other thing is just like, I've had 90 people come to my dinner now. Like, I'm going to get a lot of opinions. I'm going to get some people who love it. I'm going to get some people who didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah.
I got my first like strong dislike message today, which was kind of intense to receive. I've now recovered from.
Okay.
But
Whoa.
yeah, and it came a few weeks later, which was interesting. But
Wow.
but yeah, I think it's kind of like, you know what? That's just one opinion. That doesn't mean you need to stop doing this. That doesn't mean like that's one opinion from one perspective, and that's okay. So it's interesting how like, while empathy is a really good skill in the community space, you also sometimes need to tune it back.
I think about it as having empathy for yourself too. It's like
Easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. Like the natural like direction of it is outward.
Yeah.
And you have to turn it 180 degrees.
Yeah, I
It's
like
kinda
that.
hard, you know?
Having empathy for yourself. Yeah, I really do like that. Because it's sometimes like, I think about, oh, what will people think if I have a profit margin on my dinners? And it's like, okay, but if I want this to be sustainable, if I want to keep delivering this to people, like I need a profit margin. That's how I'm going to get there. But I shouldn't feel guilty about that, though I feel sometimes I do. So
Yeah, it's a good hack. Whoever suggested to like kind of remove yourself. You're like, I am negotiating on behalf of
this is my
somebody
company.
else.
Yeah.
Or like an entity. If you ever have employees, it'll also be easier because you're like, hey, these people need to make a living.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know? So yeah,
It's true.
In our case, I also feel better about negotiating because we were like the event that we run, we're not trying to profit at all. So we were literally trying to
Our
pass
friends'
savings on to
money.
all of our friends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
it makes so much sense.
Yeah. How do you feel? What is your biggest like win from a negotiation or surprising discount you were able to get, or
Like in life.
I mean more so for the retreat.
I mean, I don't think it's like anything huge, to be honest.
There's only negotiation on the Airbnb, really.
Okay.
But I mean, first of all, people are frequently surprised that you can negotiate on Airbnbs
Right.
at
I
all.
know. When you said that, I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
just
know.
message the host directly.
Yeah.
And if you, in the right circumstance, if Airbnbs in general, you can get like 30% discounts pretty commonly.
I didn't know that.
We got around that as well. And I think that like Kevin, on the side of understanding the person's business and like their motives, I think two things really made this work. I think one of them is it became evident pretty early on that I think that these hosts are like genuinely excited about the idea of their space being used for this kind of retreat.
Wow.
I think this just makes them feel good.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think the second thing that Kevin put up right at the beginning was like, we intend to make this an annual thing.
Yeah.
So like we intend to be recurring business for you, which we are doing. Like we're using the same
delivering
host. Yeah, we're delivering on that.
Yeah.
So now I'm organizing another event independent of Kevin, and I'm trying to like bring that energy, being like, okay, like gotta focus the same thing. That one's gonna be interesting because I'll be talking to like an actual company that is definitely a company. It's not just like the homeowners.
Sure.
So they might have less leverage.
Sure.
But I'm gonna at least try. And I think in the past I would not have even tried.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna still declare growth on
Hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that piece of like recurring business is better for them. That's now clicked where they'd rather get $2,000. Maybe they'd prefer to get $4,000, but would they rather $4,000 one time or $2,000 like 7 times?
Right.
You know, so that long-term business actually has a lot of value for them. Plus, there's value in just working with the same repeat customer.
Yeah.
These are things I've had to learn that I'm still trying to enforce into my brain. But
Yeah. Trust is big. Reputation is big.
yeah,
Yeah. You can get away with a lot if like you have a good rep and like you're a trusted person.
right.
Yeah.
Like work with me here kind of thing.
Yeah. And they just know you won't screw them over, right?
And the second dinner went so much smoother because I had worked with the owner before. We knew each other. I feel like we were laughing more the second time.
Yeah.
He pulled me to the side to share some thoughts. Like
Nice.
we were both more relaxed the second time. And I think I forget that like he's a business owner too, and he's trying to make it work for himself, have a good time too. So yeah, a lot of good learnings there.
Yeah. It's great. It's like you're connected with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the right way to think about it.
Now I need to do that with more restaurants to prove that I can do that with more restaurants. And also, how do I do the negotiation up front now? Because I think for this one, I like took the loss. It wasn't a full loss, but I took some loss on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of like, oh, if you do it again, we'll talk negotiation. Versus like, hey, this will be a 3-time dinner. How do we maybe more.
Yeah.
How do we how can we do this negotiation now?
One benefit is that you have a track record.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. You can be like, I did this thing. It's great. You want to talk to the restaurant owner?
Right,
Or, like,
right.
We have a relationship.
I'm a good
I showed up. I paid money.
person, yeah.
I did not trash the place.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. You're a serious person.
Yeah,
basically.
that's true. That's true.
That's kind of, it's weird to say, but that's kind of what you're trying to convey. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to drag it out and waste both our time. Like I have a goal, an objective, and I'd like to get this done. Work with you with it. We can both make some money, and it'll be good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the attitude.
Yeah.
And in theory, if you assume that's true, they should be excited to work with you.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? Cool person, cool idea. Do some dinners. I'm a restaurant. That's what I do. I do dinners.
That's the whole brand.
It makes so much sense.
The whole brand.
It makes so much sense. It should by default be successful.
Yeah, I love it.
You would be
There we go.
surprised if it didn't work out.
There we go. I love that.
So,
I think going back to 20 minutes ago, you were saying something about Kevin's good at negotiating
Oh, yeah.
and something
The
else.
second thing is that
That was our negotiation detour. So.
I think that when you have a partner in something, it's just way, way harder to lose momentum
Yeah.
because you have to both stop caring at exactly the same time. But if you don't, then as long as one person cares, then they'll start nudging the other person, and the other person will be like, okay, I feel obligations of the other person, and that mutual obligation is just a way more rock solid movement. So we have recurring meetings every week where we don't always make a lot of progress, but we always make some progress.
Cool.
And
which is the key.
a thing that
Momentum, baby steps, right?
yeah, a thing that
Yeah.
I really came to deeply appreciate from a past job is that oftentimes forward momentum is way more important than speed.
Yeah.
Because the most projects don't die because they're too slow; they die because they stop entirely.
Yeah.
So that's I think another key dynamic is that we just always slowly move forward, and everything that we have started happens. And I have a lot of other projects where I just eventually be I don't like this anymore, and then I stop. But there's always the
Or I think there's a second piece, third piece, whatever. Second piece where, and I feel like this might be relevant for me, is you get too much in your own head.
yes,
Especially being in the people business, you kind of can just be do people even like this? Do people even want this?
totally.
You get one piece of negative feedback and your brain starts spiraling. So I think how do you persevere through that? It would be a lot easier to. Thankfully, I'm very grateful because I have a good support system. I have my family and whoever. But I'm very grateful for that support system, and I lean on them very much so. But I think that's a big thing too, is getting demotivated because of maybe some commentary or feedback, especially being in the people business where you're going to get feedback.
It's very true.
Yeah.
There's a study where they showed that in terms of magnitude, it takes 5 pieces of positive feedback to be roughly the equivalent, feel like the equivalent of 1 piece of
that feels
feedback.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's 5 times.
Yeah.
So you get one thing, it sounds like you got hit 5 times.
Right. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So, but humans are just wired that way. It's a bias, right?
Yeah.
Negativity bias.
Yeah, I think also as a host who's always trying to improve things, and I have perfectionist energy sometimes, it's kind of, you want to latch onto the feedback and be how can I make it better? How can I make it better? But one thing I've had to learn too is passing feedback through a filter of is this person even my target user? Do I even want them to come back?
right.
Were they even the ideal client? And then B, if they were, is their feedback good? Does it make sense? Do I want to incorporate that in? Because if you listen to every single piece of feedback you're going to get, you're going to have a very skewed and confused event. So I think that's an important thing I'm trying to learn is take the feedback, but sit on it and put it through a filter.
Yeah. I think there's another great quote where it's all advice cancels to 0.
Ooh. What
If you listen to everyone's advice, it's nothing. Someone will be
That's
do
so
A.
true.
Someone will be do not A.
Right.
And then you're okay, so I'm kind of net 0.
Right.
So it's pointless to listen to all
Yeah.
advice because it's unhelpful.
That's where I got the depth versus breadth thing for my dinner because I had a bunch of people telling me from the first dinner, I wish I could have met more people. So I said, okay, great. I'm going to add these extra chairs. It's going to be awesome. You're going to be able to meet extra people whenever you want. So we did that. And to be honest, I don't think the execution was perfect. It was fine, but could have been better. Those are some of the kinks I referenced. But now I'm kind of like, wait, you know what? I should have passed that through a filter a little bit more, because now I'm getting into this breadth versus depth issue. And now I'm hearing that the depth at the first dinner was actually really strong.
Right.
And so now it's kind of like, maybe that was actually lost in dinner number 2. And because they had the option to leave, they their head was out of their table a little bit. This is my theory.
That makes sense.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
Too much optionality.
Too much optionality. So now my new theory is maybe like, I only allow the extra chair at dessert or something. So you spend...
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, you spend your whole time with your table, but at dessert, you have the ability to go elsewhere.
That is what I practically ended up doing at your dinner.
Yeah.
I just when dinner got served, I just started hopping around tables.
Cool. At dessert.
Sorry, dessert. Yeah, dessert.
And dessert was portable. It was like a little creme brulee or like ice cream thing. So you could take it with you, which was nice.
Yeah.
So we'll balance the two for next time. But there is kind of, I think you had mentioned this before, but there was value in like, you know what, we're going to be here for a while. Let's dig in, right? Yeah. Let's dig into these conversations. There's value in that.
Yeah. I agree.
But not taking too much advice or passing advice through the filter.
Yeah.
Is important.
Another way to look at it, though, is you ran the experiment and you learned.
That's true.
You know?
Do you guys feel like you're good at having an experiment mindset? And what I mean by that is like, do you run experiments and view that as like growth, or do you run experiments and you're like, oh, I should have done better. Should have figured that out sooner.
I like to think that we're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know that, like, at least when we're working together, like independently, I get bogged down all the time. Mm-hmm. But when we're working together, I don't think that I've ever been bogged down by like, oh, we messed this up.
Yeah. Because I need more of that energy that you said where you're like, well, you tried. I'm like, you know what? Thank you. You're right. I tried it.
Yeah, you tried and you learned. Right?
Yeah.
Like now that you have actually noticed that you have much more conviction in your conclusion.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
thank you.
You no longer have to wonder.
That's a good point. Wow.
Yeah.
I think where my guilt comes in a little bit is because it is a high priced event. Mm-hmm. I feel guilty almost like running experiments on people because I'm kind of like, oh, but they should get high quality event, but I guess at each stage and experiment I run, I'm doing what I think would lead to the highest quality. It's my best guess in the moment with the information that I have. So I don't like that the people are almost like guinea pigs. Also in a way they are, and that's okay.
But like the fundamental nature of the event, people must know that it's an experiment, Like that is the draw of the event. They're like, ooh, I don't really know what this is. I want to go to it.
Yeah.
So like, I think that if you were pitching a specific experience and people know like, I want to go to this because I know what it is, and you give them a different thing, then they can see that might be like a little upsetting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went to it because I'm like, I don't know how you're going to execute this. And I want to see how it's executed.
Yeah.
In part because I want inspiration for our event.
Yeah.
That was like part of the motivation behind it. And the other thing I think that the other framing that immediately comes to mind for me is even if like certain experiments fail, if you're looking on a longer time scale of making the best possible, highest quality possible version of a thing, experiments are necessary. It's like the only way to actually know how to grow. Otherwise you get stuck at one static level of quality forever.
Yeah.
So I think that you're doing right by your like future customers by doing experiments on your current customers.
Right. Future customers, future growth, future ability to bring this to like more and more people by running experiments. And I like the mindset of like you did best with the information that you had at the time. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're trying to like screw anybody over. You're just trying something out and it's a hit or a miss. That's okay.
Do you have other experiments in mind already?
Yeah, a whole bunch. I made a list and I need to pull out the list. I'm forgetting a bunch. This was like last month, but maybe 2 weeks ago. But anyway, just even like simple things around ideal timing, ideal length, ideal size of the event. Right now it's 45. Could it be better with 20? I don't know. Restaurants, will this work at different restaurants? I've only proved it out at one restaurant right now. And part of why I picked this restaurant was the spacing. And so will other restaurants feel that way? I don't know. San Francisco versus Palo Alto. I want to try it in Palo Alto because I live there. So those are all like mini experiments. And then I think within the dinner itself, like how can I throw in some kind of like game or some kind of 3 things or something. So there's a whole bunch of experiments. I think I just need to like prioritize.
Love that.
But to your point, I do wish I had somebody to bounce ideas off of a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, I have my family, I have my friends, but I have an AI app that I use. It's like really helpful.
Yeah.
It's called the Rosebud. I love it. It's actually an AI journaling app.
Oh, cool.
It's for voice journaling.
Oh, cool.
But I sometimes just use it to like talk out all my thoughts, and then
Yeah.
it can reply, and it really helps me think out loud.
Cool.
So it's kind of like talking to somebody. But yeah.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your roadmap sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear the learnings. Like I want to read like postmortems on. Not postmortems, I want to read like the learnings of this over time, where you're like, okay, these are the 7 experiments I ran. These 3 really did not work, and here's what happened. Like that would be fascinating to read.
Oh man, it would. I feel like I just have so much like personal learnings that come up for each dinner too, like just my own, just how I handle feedback. Like that is something I'm trying to work on and get thicker skin around. Also, feedback usually is fine, but even a little thing, and I tend to be sensitive toward it.
Yeah,
so how do I just keep going and keep my stride? That's like something I need to work on to get to that point. But I did love your point of like, think of the bigger vision, and all those experiments help you get to the bigger vision.
Yeah.
So it's not about the experiment itself. It's about the vision.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I should write stuff up more. It's just sometimes weird because I post on Twitter.
Oh.
And it's weird because most of my customers have come from Twitter.
So they see it.
Yeah. So I feel like I love like the build in public energy, but sometimes it feels weird to build in public for the people I'm like selling to. But at the same time, I've had other people who are building in public that I've purchased things from, and I love it. I'm like, cool, I get to see the behind the scenes. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I think the iteration is good, right? Like people can know that your product is actively
Evolving.
being improved.
That's true.
That's the benefit, right? I think of building.
That's true. That makes me want to share my like chair updates.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
we tried breadth versus depth. Here's what I landed on. That's kind of cool.
That's a solid thread.
Dang.
That is really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, you don't have to. It's not 100 and 0, right? You can also maybe say some things and some things maybe not.
Some things can't be shared. I'll share one that like shouldn't that I wouldn't post publicly, but like I had people who asked to bring a friend or even 2 friends. And so at the time I said, sure, free sales, free marketing. Like, yeah, fill up the seats, please. But I didn't really do vetting on those friends. I just said like, sure, whatever. Because, in the name of the business, trying to fill up all the seats. And actually, I don't know. I wish I did more vetting. Here's how I put it. So, nothing too bad. I just wish I did more vetting, and they should pass the same like bar that I did for everybody else who gets invited. And I shouldn't let somebody invite a friend unless I personally have vetted this person that's inviting them in a way. Like, for example, if you've come to one of the dinners and I met you and I like you, like, I think you can bring a friend. So that's a learning. It's just being mindful that like every stranger I invite is a wild card. And so if I let you bring 3 friends, now you have 4 wild cards of the same vibe. And now I've like spread your energy, and I don't know if your energy is the right energy.
Right. No, it's true. Yeah.
So that's something I want to be mindful of. So like almost like controlling your wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is the counterpoint. Like, I honestly feel like it wouldn't be egregious if you're, since in theory, person A is here because they applied. You can just be like, person A, your friends should also apply.
Yeah, and they did, but I kind of was like, of course they can go.
Oh.
It just didn't pass the same application bar.
I see.
Which is fine. Another learning, another experiment, if you will.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually kind of poignant because I live my life on one of this idea that like coolness is transitive.
Sure.
Like if you like somebody, you probably will like their other friend.
No, it is.
But I mean, we have a counterpoint here of like maybe not 100% of the time. Like maybe it's a good like bias.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that does fit because like I hadn't vetted the original person. I mean, I vetted them, but just with a guess.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Like if
that's
I
why I want to meet
them,
you. Yeah, I want to meet you and like make sure you pass the vibe check. And that's, I want to like mention this isn't coming from a judgmental standpoint. It's coming from like, as a community builder, it's really important to have the right people in the room.
100%.
Exactly like what you guys do with your events. At the walks, we do it too. We sometimes have to have feedback conversations with people.
Ooh,
That comes up.
love that.
And especially because it's a free event at the walks, anybody can come. So let's make sure we have the right people coming in.
Mhm.
And if you have somebody who is too combative or doesn't go into depth or always talks about the same thing every week, like that might be affecting the vibe. So same thing goes at the dinners, like as the host and as not being a chill host,
Yes.
it's important to vet who's coming in and make sure that they aren't impacting the the experience for anybody else.
I think that's the crux of it. That's
Yeah.
why you do what you do, right? It's
Yeah.
like I have these 40 people,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to. We talked about how we're trying to give them the best possible experience. So it's like it's
Exactly.
not personal, right? It's just
Yeah.
like
In the Arty Gathering, it even uses the example of like, there's a dinner table and one person is talking way too much and is taking up all of the space. We've all been in a conversation like that.
Yep.
Mm.
And you could be the nice host and just
Let
be
them.
polite for them and let them do it. But now everybody's had a bad time.
That's right.
Versus saying like, hey, Brian, I think
Always Brian.
I
Brian,
don't know.
please.
Brian.
Brian.
I'd really love to hear from blah 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 or whatever. It's
Right.
on the host to speak up because no one else is going to do it.
Right.
So it's same energy.
Cool. Should we end it there? I feel like we've been talking for a very long
Sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. I think this
Woo.
is going to be by far our longest episode.
Okay.
Yep.
So
But
you're going to post like all of it?
no, we'll edit it down.
Yeah,
but
with
then
that.
the edited percentage usually is around the same.
Sure,
In terms of objective recording time, this is definitely the longest,
Sure.
which is fantastic.
Cool.
I think, this has been great. I think when we check out, usually we highlight two things. One is kind of what you're feeling right now, and kind of the magnitude in terms of like out of 10. And then the other one is like what you're taking away from the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Is this for recording or for you guys?
we're recording.
Okay. For
Yeah,
recording.
that's kind of how we check out of the
Okay.
episode.
Yeah.
I can go first. I think.
Oh, each of us. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling very inspired and also very grateful for the conversation because I feel like this is the thing that we talk about constantly, but
Yeah.
I've never really. You're maybe the second person that I've met that like has intentionally thought about like designing these types of spaces. So yeah, very refreshing. And yeah, I feel like very similar intentions and formats even, which is very cool. So yeah, I'm taking away a lot of like your thoughtfulness and like ideas out of this conversation, which is
Yeah. Same for you guys.
very
I
exciting.
like want your list of things that you've done at your last retreat to be inspired by. So I feel that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like 9, 10 out of 10.
Cool.
Feeling that. Yeah. You want to go next?
Yeah. I think I'm feeling a lot of like feeling gratitude specifically for you for like prompting me to like go through this journey of like how we organize our own event, and then
It's true.
just reflecting on. I'm feeling grateful and accomplished. So the gratitude was like reflecting on like, yeah, we would have spent way more money if you didn't negotiate. Like it's been very helpful learning that from you. And that's always why I want to do those conversations, like basically pairing through them, so I can really see the ways in which our approaches would have deviated.
It's true. Sometimes I type Jamie sends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just feeling accomplished and recognizing that, like, getting these things together like was a lot of work. And talking through all like the nuances of it is being like, we made a lot of decisions and just like kept going. We kept going and then we did the thing and then the thing is real now.
Yeah.
And then the gratitude to you to like, just like, shining a light on all those things and like looking forward to like debriefing the nitty gritty details of both of these events in the future and seeing where your endeavors take you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, like also accomplished or adding to your point, like it's accomplished plus there's a cascading impact about like bringing your friends together that you might not even know about in terms of who's met up or who's had a texting conversation that inspired them or whatever. Like there's that accomplishment from the event itself, but then also what transpires afterwards. Yeah. And I feel that way with the walks and with the dinners as well. And sometimes you learn about it, but there's probably you only learn about like, I doubt even 50% of the impact that you've had through event hosting. So it's cool. Okay, so how I feel, what I'm feeling, and yeah, why? Okay, let me think. So I don't want to steal your guys' words.
No, steal them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll say gratitude too. This is my first podcast ever,
Right.
so I think this was just really fun. It felt really comfortable. And yeah, it was fun to just like have a recorded conversation. And what I love about it too is this is a checkpoint we can all look back on months to come, years to come, and be like, wow, that's how I was feeling in this exact moment. That's exactly what was relevant for me at that time. Almost makes me want to like do that for my personal life, like record a video of what's top of mind every quarter. Like, I feel like that'd be so cool.
There you
go. So I feel grateful for being able to like come together and do this. And I think the second piece is inspired specifically. I'm excited to try and kind of what I was saying, like the theme for this weekend as pushed by my friend and as you guys both mentioned too, kind of just trying to think big about what I want, like a little bit more architect energy, but think big about what I want. And also a good reminder that the experiments you run are to help you get there. And to like kind of be kind to yourself, to almost have selfish energy. Like, don't be afraid to have that as somebody who thinks a lot about other people. That's like a helpful reminder. So I feel like that some of those points are sticking with me right now.
Yeah.
Excited to get specific community ideas from you guys too. So feeling good, feeling excited. I'm also excited to like watch back this conversation and just relearn from it too. So
All right. Well, I think it's a good place to leave it then.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in or watching or listening wherever you are in the world. And have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.